Welcome to our Quick Fire Friday podcast. This is the Grow a Small Business Podcast Friday series, designed for people who need big insights in little time. In just 20 minutes each week, with no fluff, just real, proven tactics from people who know their stuff. With your hosts, Mick, AJ, and me, Rob Cameron.
Hi, this is AJ for Grow a Small Business. I'm with a really incredibly exciting guest today. He makes me feel both excited and a little bit nervous, if I'm truthful. He's a father, a son, a friend, a partner, a business development and marketing legend, and he's described as one of the most grateful men in the world. He's also the son of the legendary Bob Proctor. Hi, Brian.
Hi, AJ. It's great to be here with you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. So please, Brian, please introduce yourself.
Well, where do I begin? I obviously mentioned that Bob Proctor was my father. I was kind of fortunate. I got to grow up with Bob Proctor as a father. So I think, really about me, I look at my father's life and what he did. He was given that book, Think and Grow Rich, in October of 1961. And AJ, I was born in December of 1961. So I was there for the entire ride. And I often think my father was reprogramming his mind, and I affectionately call myself an experiment. I think he was programming mine right from the start with what he was learning. And so I really grew up in the self-development industry. I know most of the speakers, just about anybody you could talk about, I know most of them. I grew up in it, and I got to see this business from a unique perspective, and really got to value what it's all about. And I was fortunate to work a good 30 years with my father, and really worked the marketing arm of things. Kind of behind the scenes. And since his passing about 3 years ago, it's been my mission to kind of carry on his message, to really share what he taught and what he was about. And I've done that through books and programs and speaking on stage. And really, my life has changed pretty dramatically in that time. But it's been a good change.
Oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. Rest in peace, your beautiful father. And I see that amazing image in the background there. Why don't we start with your birthday's in December. What date is your birthday?
My birthday is December 8th.
I'm the 6th.
Oh, there you go. Very good. We're kindred spirits.
Only kids. Atalia had turned it around. All that beautiful introduction made it about me. Apologies. Yeah, there's so much there to unpack. What do you love about what you currently do?
What I love about what I currently do is I've written a couple of books. I'm actually working on my third book right now, and the first book is called "My Father Knew the Secret: Growing Up with Bob Proctor," and I started writing that book when my father was alive, and we had a lot of fun around it. I was telling him what I was doing. He was excited about it. I was sharing certain chapters with him, and I was maybe halfway done when he passed away. And it took a little while to get going on it again, but then I did. And I think what I love about what I do is just sharing his message, sharing it from a unique perspective. There's only three. There's myself, my brother, and my sister. So the three of us grew up with him as a father. So we have a unique perspective on it. And I've shared that in my books, and I shared it within my coaching program, and really helping guide people along the philosophy that there is so much more to life if we just take a look at what's around us and what we can do with it, rather than letting our current circumstances or our environment dictate how we act. And that's what I love. I love working with the people that have, read the book. I get all kinds of great messages from people like that. The people in the coaching program, it's just a joy to watch them transform and watch them really step out and bet on themselves. And that's what I get the most out of today. That's for sure.
You get up with that buzz and that unique perspective of obviously not only your father's work and his voice, but of course your own work. But it's almost the word intimate came to me as well. That intimate of that relationship. I mean, you can't. It's not like you're writing a biography or from an outsider's perspective. It's that real intimacy of your father's work and also your own lens. What's one thing, I know there'll be many, I'm sure, Brian, but what's one thing from your father, a belief that he passed on that perhaps you use on a daily practice? Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Well, it's funny you say that. When I was writing the first book, uh, I I had this maybe sound odd, but I was having a conversation with my wife after I had some quiet time. I take some quiet time every day, and I still speak to my father. And even though he's gone, he always said to me at the end, he said, "Brian, keep talking to me as if I'm there, and just listen for what comes." And I still do that every day, and I feel him. I feel his presence. Well, one day when I was writing the book after he was gone, I was sitting across from Corey, my wife, and she said, "What'd your dad tell you today?" And it's so funny that this message came to me so clearly, and it has really been my driving philosophy since. And that is this. And I think if we all work this way, it is this. It's stay authentic, speak from my heart, not my head, share what I know, share what I learned, and share how I use it. And that's really been my guiding principle. I think so often we get tangled up in the nonsense of things that are going on, and we don't work from a heart-centered place. And I think if we get out of our head and really listen to our heart, what is our heart telling us to do? What should we be doing today? What action step can I take today to take my business to another level? Forget putting it off till tomorrow. And even if it's a little thing, if we just keep doing those little things every single day, my gosh, in a year's time, we've done 365 little things. I promise that's going to add up to something big. Most people are looking for that big change, that big aha thing that's going to alter their life, and they're missing the little things. And if we take care of those little things every single day, we're going to achieve all the big things that we dream about.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. What a beautiful message. I got goosebumps when you were relaying that. Thank you so much. And you're right. And, our audience as small business owners are juggling a million things. And you're right. You hear it all the time in different ways, of course, but looking for that next big thing.
Right.
And as we know, a day can go by, a week can go by, a month could go by, even years could go by. But, that practice of tapping into what's the thing today. And what would you say to a small business owner that was in front of you today going, "I've lost my vision. I'm in the busy. I feel overwhelmed. I don't even know if I want to do this anymore." If that person's in front of you today, Brian, what would you say to them?
I would say you need to find your joy. You need to find your reason for being there. And if that's to take a few days of quiet time to figure that out, that's okay. I remember one of the seminars I used to love going to the most when I was young. This was back in the days I was a real estate salesman for many years, and I used to love going to the Goal Achiever seminar. And what I would challenge anybody that's struggling, if they're just trying to keep up, do you have a worthy goal? Are you going after something that is worthy of you? Most of the time, when we're feeling that overwhelm, we're not going after a worthy goal. So it's time to sit back and think, what do I really want? How do I want my business to look? How would I like myself to operate within that business? Take a clear look at that and write out how you want things to be. You know, we can't move forward if we're just working in the fog and just trying to keep up. What we need is clarity of what we're working for and what we're looking to do. And most people don't have clarity. It's the craziest thing, AJ. If we get clear on what we want and what we're prepared to do, and then step out and start taking action each day, we'll get past that overwhelm. You'll get past that, am I doing the right thing? You need to have a goal that really drives you, that's going to cause you to wake up in a day and maybe do a couple of things that you wouldn't normally do. something that you don't care to do, that you'd rather put off, but now you're so inspired by something, you're going to step out and do it. And as I said before, it can be a little thing. Those little things add up, and that's the basis for big change, quite frankly.
Totally, so much beautiful stuff there. And in full transparency, I have my own mentor here where I live, and I am working through some of your work and your program. So a lot of this just excites me, and I want to share it with the world because, but I think sometimes the hard is in the simple. And so, you touched on a few things there, Brian, that clarity about firstly what brings you joy and that clarity about being able to articulate actually what that goal is that's worthy for you is actually really hard work.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. But again, it's all perspective. I think if we make it fun, we make it joyful, we get excited about something. Yes, it might be a little bit of hard work, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, you're right. And I guess the hard work is then, and maybe hard work's actually the wrong way to position it, but it's that pausing, finding some quiet
Yeah.
in your day, your week, and being able to actually consider what joy looks like for me, whether it's every day for myself, my family, my business, the people that I work with, the people that I serve. Sort of getting all that together, isn't it? And written down, and then starting to, I guess, craft it into something that makes you excited to jump out of bed.
Yeah, it really is. We did it. This just brought up this to my head, AJ, and I think it really helps clarify, what inspires you, what would be something that you'd really want. We were holding a retreat just a few months ago in the Dominican Republic, and we had 9 clients, and it was a week immersive, just working with them and their business and getting them to see a clearer vision, moving forward. And Tommy, who a good friend of mine, he does all my video production and all the creative stuff. Tommy came up with what I thought was one of the best ideas I've seen in a long time. That's why I was just grabbing it on my desk. What he did was he handed out this money clip to everybody, and in it is $5 million. Now, of course, it's not real money, but it's 5 million, $5 million. And at dinner, he handed everybody one of these. And then he said, I want to share around the table. He said, start to think about if you had all your needs met, maybe your house is paid for, your business is going fine, everything's good, and somebody just handed you $5 million and you had to spend it. What would you spend it on? What would you do with it if all your needs were already met? And I thought, wow, that's a great idea. That's a way to get you to think out of your head. And what would I really like in my life? If I had an extra $5 million, what would I spend it on right now? That gets you to think outside of your current situation. Well, then the interesting thing was we did it again the next night, and we did it again the next night. And it really got you out of, that overwhelm where you're at, and got you using your imagination.
Oh,
That's the key. If we start using our imagination, boy, what would you like? Don't worry about what your spouse thinks. Don't worry about what your kids thinks or your parents think. What would you really like in your life? And most people don't give that enough consideration. And if you chase what gives you that heart-centered, man, this inspires me. Makes no difference what anybody else thinks. If it inspires you, well, that exercise gets you to think, what would I really like in my life? And boy, oh boy, once you know what that is, start chasing it. Start going after it. Start doing the little things. And I'm going to keep going back to doing the little things each day because that's what's important. If we keep doing those little, just one step every day, we don't have to get into overwhelm. But let's be in the present moment. Let's forget about what happened yesterday. Don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. What can I do today? What one thing can I do? It may even seem insignificant. Like for me, it's all about getting my message out. So for me today, one little thing I can do is be right here on this podcast with you, AJ. That's something I can do today. What one little thing can you do today that's out of the box, that's something a little bit different, that's going to move you, even if it's a minuscule amount towards your goal? And boy, oh boy, you keep doing that. before long, all of a sudden, things are going to be showing themselves up. You're going to see opportunities that have always been there. You'll start doing things that you were putting off. And boy, that's when magic happens. It really is.
Yeah.
Want specific advice to help you get your business through its #1 growth challenge? Book a free 20-minute growth chat with me, Troy, the founder of Grow a Small Business. I'll recommend some resources which will help you grow your business with ease so you can live the lifestyle you've signed up for. Go to growasmallbusiness.com and click on Growth Chat.
I mean, we could just stop right there. I mean, that's talking of everything. Oh, again, there's so many things, those little things. And I used to say a long time ago, those little moments. I mean, they're, whether it's with friends, loved ones, again, workmates, or a little win in the business. It's those little moments are the ones to remember. They're the ones where we get that beautiful feeling. And, and where you started this conversation, Brian, that heart-centered feeling and happens to connect to your head, the things that you're doing every day. I mean, there's so much there. I know I've definitely been challenged with procrastination in the past. I mean, doing this program, I'm actually moving through that beautifully. But I see that a lot in the small business owner who's got all the balls in the air, have all the amazing ideas, but there's that, and I don't know if it's procrastination or fear or self-image. I mean, it could be a combination of a lot of things. But how do you think about that, or how do you explore this notion of kind of not doing the little thing, stopping before you even start?
Yeah, well, procrastination is almost a disease. And today, let's face it, we have these darn cell phones that have us connected all over the place, and we can get inundated with nonsense, and before you know it, an hour's gone by. So sometimes we gotta put away the distractions. One of the best ways that I have found to eliminate procrastination is something I learned from my father. He learned it from Earl Nightingale back in the 1960s. And that is, before I go to bed at night, I'm going to make a list of 5 things that I'm going to accomplish the next day, or 5 things that I really want to accomplish the next day. That does 2 things for me. It gives me clarity on what I got to do the next day, but it also clears my head that I can have a good sleep. How often do we wake up in the middle of the night and you're thinking, oh God, I got to do this. I forgot about that. Or, you've already mapped it out. You've got 5 things you want to accomplish the next day. And then when you get up and you start your work, just work on number 1, and just work on number 1 until it's done. Feel that sense of accomplishment. That will get you through the procrastination. If you just focus on number 1, don't worry about number 2, don't worry about number 3. Just get number 1 until it's done, and then go to number 2, and then get number 2 done. You might not get to number 5, but I promise you'll have gotten a lot more done in a day than if you didn't do that. And I've done that. It has made me so much more effective. I get a lot more done in a day. And quite frankly, it gives me a lot more time then to enjoy my day. One of the chapters I wrote in my second book, 12 Easy Steps to Success, was do what brings you joy. And every day I try to find something that brings me joy. I live on the ocean. I like to get on the kayak, or I go out fishing, or go for a hike in the woods. You do something that brings you joy each day, that makes that fulfills you. It will make you a little more interesting, and it'll give you a lot more energy to do what's required when it comes to the work stuff.
Oh, such great practical tips there. Thank you for sharing yours. That's brilliant. And you're right, we don't actually need a permission slip, firstly to rest or pause, or to find joy. I don't know what happens. Is it adulthood or the world, or something happens where we feel like either, and I've had conversations with small business owners about this, where they've taken an afternoon off to go and do something that they love to do. But this is an overwhelming feeling of guilt or shame because they've left their team, or they haven't replied to the email or the ping on their phone, as you said. And it's like, what is happening, that we need
Yeah.
permission?
Well, and that's the crime today. Unfortunately, a lot of people think they got to keep grinding it out, until what? Until when? Until there'll always be something more. So let go of the grind. Let go of the grind. Just release it. Do what you can do, and get out and enjoy a little bit as well. I'm not saying take the whole day off, although I do think we should take a whole day off once in a while. But even if you take an hour off, give your mind a break. Leave your phone. Leave the nonsense. And if an email doesn't get answered for a couple hours, the world is not going to end. And let go of the grind. That's the big deal. When we can do that, boy, it's going to make us a lot more effective, and we'll actually get more accomplished because we're doing it in a little bit more of a relaxed, easygoing way. And I think there's value in that. I think the energy that we get into when we're in that relaxed state and just looking for the good around us. And what can I do right now? How can I make this a little bit better? How can I treat this person I'm working with just a little bit nicer? Especially if you're in a small business, my God, how can you treat your employees just a little bit better? Do you know how much more production you'll get out of your employees if you just treat them a little bit nicer? It's the little things that make all the difference in the world.
Fantastic. Another great practical tip. And just a reminder, because to your point, yeah, this hustle grind culture seemed to have, taken hold. But, fortunately, there's people like you, Brian, doing this incredible work, and the people that you work with to remind us, actually, yes, it doesn't need to be like that. And I was reminded of two things there. I saw a funny meme on one of the social media things, which I was scrolling at night before I went to sleep. Bad, AJ. But it was, I needed to see it. It was a man had swapped his cell phone or mobile phone, as we say locally, for a twig for the day. So he carried around a twig, and he sat with the twig instead of scrolling. And I was like, "That is so beautiful." Like,
Yeah.
it's such, I don't know if he actually did it or was a metaphor, but I was like, "I'm actually gonna do that." I love the beach and the water too, Brian, so I'm actually going to try this one morning. I'm gonna leave my phone in the car, go for a walk, find a shell, and spend the hour with that shell, you know, and see what flows. And I think that's my next point, to how I understood where you're going there, is that feeling of joy and not grinding and not hustling and getting into that feeling of flow where things feel authentic, things feel joyful. And then again, they're not always the big things. I've experienced that. I experience it often, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful for creativity and innovation and all those things, but also the people around you.
Mhm.
I want to turn it back to you before we start running out of time, and I could talk for you for days. Do Is it appropriate to talk about the third book that you're writing? Do you have a working title? Are you skipping what you're um, researching or writing about? Is that an appropriate question to ask you?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm in the thick of it right now, actually. So, I'm taking a little bit every day and writing. And so the book, the title for the book is called "Quit Screwing Around. This is Your Life." And it is. It's a lovingly. It's a phrase from my father that he would say often from the stage. There was a lot of times we would hold big seminars, be a few thousand people in the audience, and there was always two types of people that came to these events. There were the type of people that came, learned, left, and applied what they learned, and they saw the results drastically increased. Then there was others that came that just were there, I like to say almost for entertainment value. They came to mix with the people and to learn and study, but they never actually practiced and applied the material. Well, he would often say from the stage, quit screwing around. This is your life. So many people are just screwing around. They're not stepping out and betting on themselves. And that's what this book is all about. And uh, I'll share one of the stories because I just wrote it today.
Oh my goodness, exclusive, world exclusive.
Well, it's nothing that's not known. My father talked about Roger Bannister quite often. Roger Bannister was an Englishman back in the 1950s. He was the first man to break the 4-minute mile. He ran a mile in under 4 minutes. He actually accomplished it on May the 6th, 1954. And at that time, And this is really the important part, and this is why I wove this story into it. At that time, doctors and experts said it was physiologically impossible for a human to run a mile in under 4 minutes. They said the lungs and the heart would not be able to operate. They would collapse. And that was the paradigm of that time. They thought there's no way anybody can do it. Well, here was Roger Bannister. He wasn't willing to accept that thought. He thought he can break that 4 minute mile, and he did what he had to do. He trained in a way that would get him to break that 4 minute mile. Well, on May 6, 1954, he broke it. And now they call this the Roger Bannister effect. Once somebody proves that something can be done, all kinds of other people will start to do it. Well, 46 days later, somebody else broke a 4 minute mile.
Wow.
You know, to this day, there are over 2,000 athletes that have broken the 4 minute mile. It's really spectacular. And all it takes is somebody to think, okay, this is the way it's always been done. Maybe there is another way to do it. Do I have to allow the paradigms of other people to control the way I think and how I'm going to deal in my business? Now, Roger Bannister was somebody who challenged that. Here's the interesting thing that I find, AJ, is most of us are going after something that somebody has already done. We're not even looking to break a paradigm, and we're holding ourselves back because of our own self-talk. Start to think, if somebody else has done it, my God, I could do it too. If they could do it, so can I. And what do I need to do to get there? What do I need to do to take my business to that next level? And then just, as they say, quit screwing around. Get out and do it. That's all it takes. We like to give ourselves excuses. We like to talk negatively to ourselves. It's all this nonsense that we have. I often say, would you be friends with somebody that speaks to you the way you speak to yourself?
Oh, yeah.
You really want to think about that.
Yeah.
And if you don't speak to yourself in a kind way, man, you wouldn't want to be friends with somebody like that. Why would you do that to yourself? Start speaking kindly to yourself. Start to relish the great things that you can do. Sure, you might not be an expert at everything, but you can be. You can be. When I first started writing, I probably wasn't a great writer at first. When I was on my first podcast, I know I was terrible. But when that first book came out, I started getting on podcasts. I've been on hundreds of podcasts now. I got better. It's like anything. You just have to get out and keep doing it, and you'll get better. And as you do, your business will increase. Anyway, that was a bit of a ramble, but that's
No, boom. I'm hanging on your every word. There's so much fantastic there. Thank you for sharing a little bit about your book and what you're focused on. It's so generous of you. You're so amazing. I am conscious of time, and we promise our listeners that our Friday podcasts are short and sharp and quick. So, like I said, I could talk for days with you, Brian. You're so generous. And before we go, I do want to say a special thank you to Rachel Downey, who's my mentor, who is helping me understand your father's work and your work. And I'm so, so appreciative. It's completely life-changing for sure. To close up, Brian, what would you leave someone listening today who's ready, they're excited, but they're not sure where to start? We've talked a lot about behaviors and mindsets and little things and practical tips, but what's the thing that you would like people to do next week, or you suggest to do next week?
So I wouldn't even wait till next week. To your first note, Rachel Downey is just a wonderful, wonderful individual. So I'm really glad you're connected with her. And she's just a tremendous woman. What's the one thing I would leave anybody with? It would be this: bet on yourself. Bet on yourself. Don't let other people knock you down. Don't let their opinions dictate what you're going to do in life. I have people in my life that think I'm crazy for writing books and getting out and speaking. Why would you want to do that at this point in your life? Why, and it's like, what you need to realize that most people are putting their opinions, their paradigms, their thoughts on you.
Yeah.
That's not for you. You live the way you want to live. What I would say over the next week is start to think, what do I want in my life? What would I like to have? What would I like to do? How would I like my business to be? Get clear on what that is, because clarity is so important. Most people are not clear. So take the time and get clear. Write it out. Write out. I like to call this your future self. Write out to yourself a letter. And I used to do this in the seminars. I would have people do this at our events. Write out a letter as if it's a year down the road. Where are you going to be? What will you have accomplished? What is your business doing? Write it out as if it has already happened. And write it out in a way that you're congratulating yourself for all that you have done. Take some time and write that out and feel that. Feel what it feels like to be there. And boy, that will make all the difference in the world. That will get you thinking about what you can do, what you're going to do, what you want to do, and it will get you clear on where you want to be. Clarity is the key.
Brian Proctor, you're an absolute legend. And I'm going to write a future letter to myself saying we're going to have a birthday drink one year. I'm not sure when or how it's going to happen. That's my future self. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, AJ. It's been a real pleasure being here with you.
Bye.
We'd greatly appreciate you taking a couple of minutes to leave our podcast a review on iTunes. If you don't have an account, simply follow us on Spotify. You'll help other small business owners find the cast and valuable content our guests share.